All right. Hello, everybody. It is March 5th, 2020 here, and this is another of our series of Q&As for Sitepop. And I know you guys are all excited that a lot of new participants on here, and I know that's the exciting time for you guys to get up and running. And unfortunately, right during the launch, we had a couple of glitches there, so I do apologize for that. That is not the norm, but keep in mind this is a very advanced software development. So it's not always smooth as anything, there's some bumps in the road. There's a huge benefit to this though. So it's worth the little inconveniences that we have from time to time is well worth the, the frustration sometimes. So anyway, that being said, if you guys have questions, there's a chat down there. There's also a Q&A box, so either one, I'll check both of them here, and you can put them in there. If you want to come out on the call, I can actually open it up so you can speak if you want to do that. But anyway, let me get into it and answer some of the ones that are very common, and a lot of the ones that we saw in the support system here over the last couple of weeks. One of them was in regards to instant searches. Like when you guys create a campaign, the searches don't start instantaneously. The way that we do this, when you create a project and you connect the project to your device, to your cell phone or your desktop or whatever, when you make that connection, it sends the signal back to our server that you've connected a device, and then our searches that go out are based on connected devices. So if you don't have devices connected, you're not going to get searches from the network. So the other thing about how fast you get searches, your searches are scheduled for the following day, so they are not instant. You don't connect the device and immediately start seeing searches all of a sudden. So that was something, we fielded a lot of questions in the help desk over the last week about that. So searches are scheduled out for the next day based on your connected devices and how long the devices are connected. This is a user-generated network. All of the searches come off of users. So if you're not a participating user, you're not getting the searches from the network. If you're not contributing, you're not getting them back. The math just doesn't work out that way. So, you can't, there's no free ride in this system. There can't be, because like I said, the math just doesn't work out. So that's something, when you connect your device, don't expect searches to be immediate. Look for them the next day. If you're a couple of days in and you're not getting searches and it looks like your devices are connected, that's the time to put in a support ticket and let's take a look and see what's happening. But don't hop in there and give us a support ticket that says I'm not getting any searches 10 minutes after you've connected. It's wait till a day or two down the line and make sure. Another one, another common thing that we've got is questions related to where your device has to be versus where the customer is or the project. It does not matter. Like if you want to run devices in your office for a customer that's 3 states away, that's perfectly fine. The device connected to the project does not have to be in the general vicinity of the project. This is a huge network. It's a huge database of cell phones to run these searches. The other misconception was people thought that their phone sent the searches to their site. That's not the way it works. Your phone contributes searches to the network for everyone else's projects. Their devices contribute searches to your projects. So it's not, your phone is not doing the work for your project. Your phone is contributing searches collectively to the network. The network is collectively sending those searches back to you from all the other devices in the network based on your input. So if you've got your phone connected for an hour a day, that's not going to get you very many searches, if any. In fact, you may not even get scheduled in that time. You need to connect devices and leave them connected. You know, they should be connected pretty much 24/7 if you can do it. I know some of you have computers you turn off at night or whatever. Um, that's okay. You know, you can still, as long as you've got your computer connected for the majority of the day, you should be okay. Because we don't run a lot of these searches during the middle of the night, so probably not a huge deal there. But anyway, that's something. The devices do not have to be in the same location as the business. So I know I've got businesses all across the country, and sometimes I'll get a client that maybe they've only got one device, so they need two running to get 500 searches. So I just tell them, you know, it's a retail customer, they're paying me full pop for it. I'm like, I'll connect one of my devices for you. Even though they're states away, it doesn't matter. It's just the overall number of devices connected, so the number of searches work out. Another thing about the locations is some people say they have multiple locations. They're confused on which location to put in down at the bottom when you set up your project. Just put the city. You know, some people have a home address. They don't want to put their home address in there. It doesn't matter. Just put a city in. Put the city in the middle of all of your locations. It doesn't really matter pinpoint specific. Just be in the general vicinity. That's all that matters with that. So anyway, that's one. Uh, so some people are asking about Google My Business. Does this work for Google My Business? It's not specifically set up for Google My Business, but it does have a positive effect over the Google My Business rankings. So like the 3-pack and all that, one of the bigger factors in getting the Google My Business and your maps and all that stuff to rank is the site that it's connected to and the authority and the positioning and rank of that site. That is a very positive factor in getting those ranks for your local listings, your Google My Business, your maps, all of that stuff. So it's not directly related. We didn't develop it for that, but it does have that positive impact on it. So just wanted to hit that one. People have wanted to know about number of searches that they can do on a given project. If you're in the pro level or less, we basically designate 500 searches or allow 500 searches per project. Now, again, that's based on 2 devices being connected. Each device you connect gives you about 250 searches a month for the project that the device is connected to. We recommend 2 because 500 searches a month is about where we found the sweet spot. That's where we found it really kind of makes a difference, and it supercharges that site when you hit 500 searches a month of people clicking through and all those signals that are coming with it. So that said, if you've got, let's say you've got a keyword that is a lot of competition and you need more searches, and you've got a site that justifies that, meaning that it's got other traffic too. If you don't have traffic to a site, and this is all you're doing to generate traffic, I would stick with 1 project per site. In fact, you might even want to just connect 1 device and get 250 searches instead of the 500 for the first month or 2, so you can ramp it up and it makes it look natural. Guys, this is not a magic bullet. You're not going to take a brand new site with nothing going for it, no reason to rank, and just, you know, throw the heat at it with this and make it work. That's not what this is all about. This is not a magic bullet. There is no magic bullets in SEO. There's just ways to do stupid stuff and get yourself in trouble. You know, do the stuff logically, do it, you know, conservatively, and it will be just fine. It will work really well. Now, that said, let's say you've got a site that's been around, it's got a fair amount of traffic, then you can do more. You could put 2 projects. Let's say you want 1,000 searches a month because you got really competitive keywords. You can get away with that, no problem. On the agency version, we allow you to change the allotted amount of searches per project, and you can do that at will. You can go up or down to whatever you want. And again, let's say you move it up to 1,000, you still need to have the number of connected devices to make that work. So again, it's all about the number of devices connected is going to be the number of searches that you get for that project. Okay, so hopefully I'm clear with all of that. So anyway, again, you know, we've got a lot of those of people are saying, you know, I didn't realize I needed all these devices. If you're doing this for clients, like you've got an agency version and you've got 50 projects, yeah, you would need 100 devices running to get the maximum amount out of that. It doesn't have to be your devices. If you're running an agency, you're probably doing this for clients. What I tell my clients when I'm selling them Sitepop as a retail service, I sell it as a totally different thing. I don't call it Sitepop. I call it a local SEO boost service. And you can sell that for anywhere from 97 to, I've seen people selling it for $4.97. And I sell it just as that. It's a local SEO boost service, or even just an SEO boost service. It doesn't have to be a local site to make this work. But anyway, I tell them there is some qualifications. The reason, you know, one of the things to qualify at this price, like if you think about a $97 SEO package that actually works, nobody's offering that. So when you throw that out and you say, and you have to qualify to get this, all of a sudden they're willing to do anything to get that at that price. And the qualification is you've got to connect 2 phones to make this work. This is a network-driven package. And if you don't connect the phones, you don't get the searches. That's the qualification. Clients have no problem whatsoever with that. Like I said, you know, I've got a few that, you know, they say they only have 1 phone. I don't know too many people that don't have access to more than 1 phone, though. You know, you've got probably a wife, a girlfriend, a kid, a cousin, you know, another employee. Everybody's got a phone. Finding 2 phones to connect the app and put your project code in is not really a big stretch. So that whole thing, you know, people complaining about that, to get the power of this network and to complain about that is pretty ridiculous. I mean, come on, guys. Let's be serious. Where are you going to get this kind of horsepower? And if you're not willing to reach out your hand and grab it, I don't know what to tell you. You know, there's a price to everything. That's the price of the network. You've got to contribute. You're not willing to contribute, you're not going to get anything back out of it. I mean, when you can go to Walmart or Target or Amazon and buy a $20 phone that's going to fill the bill, that's a pretty easy answer to your, you know, pretty solution to your answer, you know, answer to your problem rather. Anyway, let's talk about the balance of searches, because this is another thing. We allow you to put up to 12 keywords in your projects. It doesn't mean that you should. It depends on your SEO strategy. Remember, this is all about SEO, and Sitepop it's a strategy that you can use to gain SEO results. Again, it's not a magic bullet. It doesn't replace link building. It doesn't replace good content on the site. Keep this in mind. This is something I want to be very clear about. SEO, the SEO that we're affecting with Sitepop is based on user experience. When you get Sitepop to send you these signals and Google starts ranking you, Google's going to start sending you real users. If you've got a crap site and the real user is going to see the site, say yuck, and hit the back button, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot. This is like a jump start to get you real traffic. Google's still looking at all the signals, so when they send you real users and you blow it, they're going to notice. So you've got to, if your site has issues, that's something with SEO you're going to want to fix. You're going to need to fix it. Again, this is not a magic bullet. This thing works really, really good, but it's not going to fix that kind of stuff. Make sure your site is SEO optimized. Make sure your on page is right. Make sure your user experience is right. Make sure you've got links coming in, to make Google pay attention to you from that aspect. Again, SEO is about three things: on page, off page, and user experience, user signals. Sitepop solves that problem. The user experience part, we can plug that hole for you. We can get you rankings if that hole is the thing that's keeping you back. Most people are on page 2 and 3 because they don't have that factor. They've done the on page, they've done the link building, and it's only got them to page 2 or 3. Sitepop can come in and fix that, but it's not going to fix your website. It's not going to fix the fact that you have a bad user experience. You need to fix that yourself. So anyway, strategy, the balance of how many keywords that you should have. If you've got a new site, you've got a site that's not ranking very well, and you're just trying to bring up the overall authority of the site so it can start ranking, I would recommend using more keywords rather than less. I would prefer to spend a month or two just seeding those signals into Google, training it what people are looking for, and they're looking for it in conjunction with your brand. When we have people that do that, what we see is we see an overall rising of the tide for all kinds of keywords. They start ranking for all kinds of stuff they weren't focused on. It shows Google that your brand is important to particular keywords, and then Google starts seeing how relevant it is to all the other variations of those. And you can start ranking for stuff that there's no competition for. A few people can start coming through, and it snowballs. So that's a strategy. That's an SEO strategy, is build authority, build brand recognition, and start to get a bunch of little keywords to rank so you can start the process moving forward. That's one of my favorite ways to use Sitepop, is just that way. I put in multiple brand variations. I put in all 12 keywords, and I just start percolating the process very slowly. Now, if you're an experienced SEO and you've got keywords that are ranking that are competitive, and you've done the work, you've done the link building, and you've done all the hard effort to get them up on page 2, and you've got specific keywords that you're trying to push, then you use a different strategy. You use Sitepop a very different way. I would still use multiple brand variations, but I would cut the keywords way back. Maybe even one keyword. It's going to send all the searches that one keyword. So make sure, if you're going to do that, that you justify it. Make sure your site has enough other searches naturally to make sure that doesn't look like hocus pocus. You don't want this to look unnatural. You don't want to show up on the radar as you're trying to game the system unnaturally. So if you fall into that criteria and you've got a site, it's ranked, it's got traffic, it's got, you're not going to do something out of the ordinary. You can do 1, 2, 3 keywords, and you can hit those keywords really, really hard. And that way you can try and push those specific keywords up. So it's a different strategy. Some people are running only one keyword, and they're running multiple projects, or they're in the agency version and they're running 2, 3, 4,000 searches a month for a particular keyword. Again, keep in mind, you've got to have the number of devices to justify that. You get 250 searches per device. So another strategy for that is, if you're trying to get the Google suggest to get the drop down when you know, when people start typing in and Google's suggesting recommendations, more searches for that particular thing is going to sway Google in your way to start recommending you in the Google Suggest. That can take a very long time. It's not something that we developed this for. It's just a side benefit that we've seen a lot of. So anyway, that's kind of covering some of the couple of sides to the strategy. It's either pushing very hard on a couple of very focused keywords if your site justifies that. I would not do that on a brand new site or a site that is not worthy of ranking. But if you are, then that's a strategy you could implement. If you're just getting started out, I would recommend using all 12 keywords. I would recommend doing one project per domain and keeping it light. Get the ball rolling and do it naturally. So anyway, that's some of the main stuff that has been coming in over the over the forum and or rather over the help desk over the last couple of weeks here. One more thing, I am not sure about this. Some people are reporting it, others have no issue whatsoever, and we're not sure if it's a glitch somewhere in the system. We're not sure if it's a glitch on a particular type of phone. We're trying to get to the bottom of it, but some people are saying they're getting the error unable to connect when they're trying to connect their phone. So when you put your email address and your project code in the phone, it should connect. If everything is right with the phone, it should connect and it should show your keywords. Now, some things that would cause that is if your Wi-Fi wasn't connected. And I know some people say, yeah, it looks like it's connected. And I've seen this on my own phones. I've got a bunch of these cheap burner phones that I bought from Walmart and Target. And every once in a while, I'll get one that comes up with that message. It says, cannot connect to the server. And I say, okay, and I restart Sitepop or Marketing Assistant, the app on the phone. And it still keeps coming up with that unable to connect to server. I check the Wi-Fi, it's connected, but I'm still getting the error. So what I do is I reboot the phone. In some cases, I'll find that the Wi-Fi now is disconnected when the phone reboots. So I have to reconnect the Wi-Fi. Then I start Marketing Assistant, start Sitepop, and then it connects and it pops up. So that's one of the things that I've seen. Another one is location services. Sometimes on the cheaper phones, stuff just gets turned off, just erroneously, for no reason. I can't tell you why, but if your location service, your GPS locator, is not turned on the phone, then Sitepop's not going to connect. So it'll give you that same message, unable to connect with the server. So you got to make sure that the locations are turned on, your GPS locator is turned on and Wi-Fi is connected. Generally, if those two things are in order, generally you'll connect, no problem. Now, like I said, we've had some people that are still reporting that they're seeing that, and they're claiming that their Wi-Fi is turned on and their location is turned on and they've rebooted the phone and everything is good and they're still getting the message. If that's the case, if you're experiencing that, that's something you want to put a support ticket in for, and we can have our engineers look at that, see if they can get to the bottom, because we're trying to figure out if that's a real issue or if this is just a user not really going through the steps to rectify it. So anyway, let's see. Another thing about the type of devices, there's a ton of different devices out there. There's a lot of Android devices you can run apps on, including tablets. I myself have quite a few tablets that I run this on, and they give me a lot of problems. They have a lot of things where they disconnect automatically. That's one of the reasons why we don't support iPhone. iPhone automatically disconnects connections after about 10 minutes. So it would be an absolute nightmare for you to stay connected. So we just discontinued the iPhone altogether. A lot of people that run apps that have constant connections have the same problem, and there's no solution to it. And iPhone just doesn't care, so we can't support it until they fix that. So anyway, we're not iPhone friendly with this at this point. It's Android, Windows desktop, Windows 10 specifically desktop, and Mac desktops or laptops, Mac OS. So not iOS, Mac OS, Windows 10, and Android. And like I said, on Android, there's a ton of different devices out there, and some of them are finicky. Some of them are more finicky than others. And again, a lot of times with the burner phones, they're giving you the phone basically for free to get you to connect to their services. We're not connected to the services. We just use the Wi-Fi. So we have a free connection, and we're just using the phone just purely to run Sitepop, or to run Marketing Assistant rather, same thing. That's just a white label version of it. So, you know, one of the things about the tablets and the cheap burner phones is sometimes they're glitchy. You know, they're just not as high quality, so sometimes they'll glitch and you'll have to restart them or reconnect them or whatever. But like regular phones, like I have a Samsung here. This is my regular phone. I hook this up. I never have had an issue with it. It stays connected. It just does its thing. It's absolutely worry-free. It's the, you know, sometimes the cheaper phones, I have a whole bank of them over to the side of me here. And, you know, every morning I come in, I look, and, you know, sometimes they're perfect. They'll run perfectly for weeks on end. And then sometimes I'll come in and there'll be 3 of them that I have to just restart. You know, it's just part of the animal, you know. It's well worth it though. So anyway, let me get into some of your questions here. A lot of these aren't really questions, they're comments, so I'm just going to kind of go through. I think a lot of them I've probably already answered, like that one I've answered. Here's one from Jeff. How many users are in the network right now? I don't know the exact number of users, but I know the number of devices is over 10,000. There's over 10,000 worldwide. Most of them, you know, a big chunk of that is in the US. We've got a lot of them in Europe now. We've got quite a few in Australia, and certainly enough to have huge impact. One of the things we found, some people were concerned that, you know, I'm out in the sticks, I'm out in Nebraska, and there's nobody around me. How's this going to work? It works. There's plenty of devices within a close enough range of anyone in the United States that this works really well for. Again, your phone is not running all the searches for you. If your phone, let's say you're out in the middle of nowhere, and your phones, you got 2 or 3 phones connected, your phones will run a couple of searches for you just because they're in the general vicinity. But then it's going outside. It's looking for the devices that are next closest. They might be 10 miles away. They might be 50 miles away. But it's going to hit the ones that are closest to you. And it doesn't really matter. They don't have to be in the same neighborhood. That's a misnomer. When we started the network, we did some beta testers. And we had a couple of guys that were very remote. They had one device connected, and most of our users were in Southern California, either Orange County or San Diego. The signals coming out of Orange County and San Diego moved the needle like nobody's business for those guys that were out in the sticks with nobody around them. So you don't have to have a bunch of people right next to you for this to work. It works really, really well. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Jeff's talking about some devices connected to the network get more searches than others. That is natural. You're not going to get the same amount of searches every day. Everything about this is randomized. If you've got your device connected 24/7, all month long, you should get roughly 250 searches a month. It's never going to be the exact same number. Everything about this is randomized. You might get more one month, less the next. You might get more searches to any particular keyword. Like I said, it's all completely randomized. So you might get hardly any searches today, but then you might get a bunch tomorrow. So like I said, and sometimes if you get less searches, it might mean your device wasn't connected. It might have been offline for most of the day and you just didn't recognize it. You didn't realize that. So anyway, that's kind of the thing with that. Let's see. Brian wants to know, on laptop, does my marketing assistant app need to be awake? Yes, I believe when your device is, I believe when a laptop goes into sleep mode, I think the device is shut down. So what you want to do is you want to turn the sleep off and let it do its thing. I have a laptop that I run in my office here, and it's running 24/7. I have the lid closed because I have an external monitor that it's connected to. So I've got the lid closed, but I have the computer set to run all the time. So I don't hear the hard drive running, but it is, it's basically, it's up and it's awake and it's working all the time. So anyway, there's that. Okay, here's a good one. Says my marketing assistant says keyword is ranking #1, but when I search my keywords, most of them are on the second page. Okay, here's the deal with the rank reporting. The rank that's being reported on the app is the rank that it was found when the last search was run in the network. So since there's devices all over and there's, Google doesn't serve up the same results to everyone. Google serves up different results depending on a whole lot of different criteria. Remember, they've got their RankBrain algorithm as part of what's deciding what's going to rank for any given person. Could be based on previous search history, could be based on the location. I've done this experiment many times over the last probably 15 years. I'll get a group of people, like right now we've got a bunch of people on this call, and what I would do, I would say, okay, everybody run a search for this keyword and then report back where you see it ranking, and they're all over the board. So it's the same thing here. When the last device in the network runs that particular search for that keyword, it's reporting back to our central server where it was found. That's what shows up on your marketing assistant app, is that data right there. So it doesn't mean that when you run it on your desktop, it's going to be the same. Mobile devices show different rank than desktop. So it might have been a desktop that ran the thing. You might be looking on mobile or vice versa. So there's a lot of reasons why there would be discrepancy in where you see the rank versus where the rank is being reported. This is especially true when you first start. A lot of times after things shuffle out, you run this for several months and the rank becomes solid, then it tends to solidify and be more accurate across the board. But especially in the beginning, it's bouncing around a lot. So it could be very common to not see the same rank that's being reported. Another thing about this, the rank that you're seeing, that is not necessarily the rank of the keyword, it's the page rank. It's like page 1. This keyword is found on page 1. So it's not necessarily position 1, it's page 1. That's the idea, to pump these all up to page 1 and then let them percolate to the top. So anyway, that's how that's being reported. Okay, so Ted says if keywords are not in the top 100 searches, you don't get full optimization. Is that correct? Yeah, if your keyword is not found in the top 100 searches, basically what's happening, Google or Sitepop is coming back. It's adding your brand to it. If your brand doesn't come up with the brand and keyword match, you're not in the top 100. This isn't going to help you. You got bigger problems if your keyword and your brand combination don't come up. That's kind of suspicious that you might have bigger issues going on. So so anyway, make sure, when you're doing your keyword research, I've got several modules and best practices where I talk about how to do keyword research and how to figure out what keywords are the best keywords to use in here. And one of the best strategies for me is I'll use keywords that are on page 2 and 3. I can get good fast traction out of those. I can push them up. And like I've mentioned before, when you increase the rank of keywords, you're not just pushing those keywords up, you're rising the tide of all of your keywords across the board. So when you push keywords that are page 2 or 3, even if they're not very competitive and they're not going to get you much traffic out of them, they're not high volume, that's okay. Push them up, start getting a little bit of natural traffic, and watch what happens. It's going to bring other keywords up behind it that are better keywords. SEO is a long-term game. It's not a flash in the pan. It's not instant gratification. It's a long-term strategy. That's exactly what I'm telling you here. Grab the traction keywords and push them up first, and then see what other new traction keywords come up behind them and just keep shuffling them to the top. You can change the keywords out anytime you want, so don't worry about that. But I would let keywords run for a given amount of time. Let keywords run and percolate, really solidify for a month or two. Don't be constantly rapidly changing them out. Forget rapid fire in this game. Do stuff long term. Let things solidify and then pull the next set up. And even if you're going to change keywords, you don't have to change them all at one time. You can change out one at a time. Do things slow and natural. That's what's going to win the game here. So anyway, okay, going down the list here. Okay. Okay, a lot of these questions we've already answered. Okay, here's one. Jeff says, one of my devices is a Mac computer and it keeps disconnecting even during the day. Um, you might have some sort of an antivirus software or something that might be, throwing a wrench in the works. You might want to look at that. Typically with the desktops and laptops, whether it be Mac or Windows 10, typically once those connect, unless there's something that breaks the connection, they typically stay pretty solid. Here's another thing that can break the connection. The app is constantly communicating. It's communicating with our server for multiple different things, to report rank from other searches, to get its instructions on what it's going to do. So if your Wi-Fi connection or your LAN connection is not a stable, solid connection, that can break the process and that can make the app need to be restarted to reconnect. We're working, our development team is working on trying to build that into the software where we automatically try and reconnect so you don't have to. But I think right now that potentially is something that could be breaking your connection, is intermittent. That's another thing too comes to mind. If you have a router and you basically have a wireless router and you're connecting a bunch of different devices, some of those wireless routers are only made for a couple of connections. So if you've got 10 devices, let's say you got a laptop, a desktop, a phone, a couple more phones, tablets, and all these things are trying to connect to your Wi-Fi network over your router, and it can only handle a couple of connections, that could be your problem too. You might look at some other routers. You can get third-party routers that can take like 20, 30, 50 connections, and you might need to look at that as a solution. So again, there's no reason why it would disconnect unless something got in the way. Okay, okay. Jeff wants to know, how does a search in California or Florida help a plumber in Chicago? Um, you know, Jeff, I don't really know the real honest to God answer, but I can tell you it does. And I'll give you an example of another industry. I know it's not a plumber, and it doesn't make sense for a plumber. Certainly, I get that, but it still works. But I'll tell you how it would work for a restaurant. A local restaurant that only serves people in the area, right? So you would expect searches only to matter from the local area. Why does searches from California affect a pizza parlor in Chicago? Logically, I might be thinking about traveling there and I might be pre-planning my meals. You know, that's a Google gets that. Google gets that people search for stuff outside the area. And I don't know that they've specifically figured out and targeted that, hey, plumbers, they don't do that. But hey, what if I own property? Let's say I live in California and I own property in Chicago and I have a plumbing issue. I'm going to run searches from California. So it's not like it's totally absurd to think that that search isn't real. So anyway, when we have found that to be absolutely true, the searches don't have to come from the exact neighborhood. If you get some from there, that's great. If you don't get any from there and they're all coming out of one location, that's where we see problems. But naturally, if you're getting searches naturally from varied sources, that is the key to safe SEO. Anything you can do from varied sources that's impossible to detect, that's like the golden goose of SEO, and that's basically what we're doing. Okay, let's see. Okay, Ted, this is the same thing, a TCL phone. That's one of those burner phones. I've got a bunch of them sitting right here, so I know what you're talking about. Sometimes you'll come in the morning and it says not connected. What I believe the majority of that is I think it's disruptions in the Wi-Fi. If you've got multiple computers or multiple devices trying to connect to the same Wi-Fi connections, and you've got too few connections, I truly believe that that might be the answer to that. But like I said, we've got a lot of reports on that. So we've got our back end team looking into that to see if there's something that we're not seeing and see if we can't solve that. And again, they're also working on that mechanism to automatically try and reconnect. And as soon as we've got that, we'll update, you know, we'll pop a new release out and get that dialed in. Okay, that question's been answered. Let's see. Okay, again, and more unable to connect. We've gotten quite a few of those. So let's see. Somebody says they have no ability to edit anything with the phone. And yes, there is no editing on the app itself. The only thing that you can edit on the app itself is the phone number and the project code. So the other stuff is not editable through the app. It's only through the back end. There is no Facebook group for this. I particularly do not like Facebook groups because I don't have the bandwidth to police them. And every time I've ever seen somebody open up a Facebook group for something that's a specific product like this, you get a bunch of know-it-alls that don't know crap. And it just percolates bad information, and I don't have the time or the willingness to police that. So we've got support for this. You can get any of your answers, you know, right from the horse's mouth. That's the way that we're going to do this. I have no interest whatsoever in opening up a Facebook group for opinions about something that it's not an opinionated thing. So the answer to that one's definitely not. Okay, if a client wants to trigger auto suggest for a keyword that gets 6,000 searches a month, you would need to send 60%, so 4,800 searches a month. Okay, how many phones does client need to buy? Well, you get 250 per device, so you just do the math on it. Again, you got to make sure that their site justifies that. If their site is only getting 1,000 natural searches a month, you're not going to want to pour 6,000 searches on it for one keyword. That's asking for trouble. So again, you got to do stuff in SEO that makes sense. Don't put your clients at risk. Don't suggest strategies that are going to get them, it's going to be questionable. Do stuff long term. A lot of times clients will have unrealistic expectations. They'll think that they can just throw money at something and buy it. And you don't buy search results from Google. You have to earn them. And you have to earn them in a way that is natural, that doesn't get you on the radar. So be careful with clients that have unrealistic expectations. Be honest with them. Be truthful with them. They'll value you for it. Go in with a strategy that makes sense and work your way up. I mean, get the fact that, hey, I know what you want to do here. I know you want to be in the auto suggest for that. We can't do that overnight. And we've got to do that in a way that you're going to get massive, huge value across the board on the rise. So you're not going to be waiting and waiting and waiting for this one thing. You're going to get massive results all along the way to get that one thing, that vanity thing that you want. But what they really want is they want results. So you've got to be able to produce results for them to keep them happy. Okay, Jeff says, is there a way to get less than 200 searches a month or 250 searches a month on a local site? Yes, in the agency version, you can lower the number of searches. You can do that in the agency version. What I've seen though is 250 searches is absolutely safe, even for a brand new site that's got no traffic whatsoever. As long as you vary the keywords, put 12 keywords in there, put multiple brand variations. That way the mix across 250 is going to be totally natural. I mean, if you think about that, let me do the math on that. Let's say you had 12 keywords and you had 5 brand variations. So that's 60. If we take 60 and we divide it into 250, 250 divided by 60, that's only 4 searches for that keyword a month. Even a brand new site, that is not going to be out of the norm. That's not going to put you on the radar. So you don't really need less than 250 searches. I would do that as a base bare bones minimum. And then as you do that, watch what happens, watch what other keywords start to rise, and then you can start changing your strategy up to be more effective. But 250 searches split between 12 keywords and multiple brand variations is extremely safe, even on a low volume site. That is perfectly safe. Okay. Here's one. Most clients have iPhones. That is really not true. And I'll tell you what, when we developed the iPhone app for this, everybody was screaming at us saying that very same thing. So we put a bunch of money into developing the iPhone app. And when we put it out, everybody was, oh yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. But when we looked at our results, we looked at the stats, it was about 5% of the network was actually using the iPhone app. It didn't even make sense for us to build it. So, saying that all of your customers have iPhones and that's all that's out there, tell them to buy a burner phone. It's 20 bucks. If 20 bucks is not a reasonable investment for them to be able to use this network, that's probably not a customer you want to deal with. That's irrational. So anyway, and again, they all have computers. They probably either have a Windows 10 or a Mac, even if they, even if they don't have an Android phone. They probably at least got one of those. Okay. Okay, let's see. A lot of these questions have already been answered here. Is this still Android? It's Android, Windows 10, and Mac OS. Not iOS, just Mac OS. Okay. Not iPhone, correct. Okay. Add some brand. Again, a lot of these questions have already been answered here. Okay, here's a question about a white label. This is somebody with an agency version. I'm thinking five phones per business location, $497 per month with a $500 upfront setup fee. That's perfectly reasonable. Absolutely. We've got people that are reselling this on the white label anywhere from $97 to $497 a month, and depending on how many searches, everybody's doing things differently. So I don't really know the nuances, but what I can tell you from me, I sell it at 97. I sell it as a local SEO boost service, and I guarantee the results. Now, when you think about it, when you can guarantee SEO results for $97 a month, that grabs people's attention. That turns some heads. And the way I do the guarantee is I say, look, for 97 bucks a month, I'm going to focus on, however many keywords, 5 to 12. And what I guarantee you is within 90 days, I'll have at least one of those keywords on the first page for you. And if I don't, the guarantee is I will run the service for up to a year until I do, on the house for free. You wouldn't pay me until I get the results for you after the first 3 months. So if you think about that guarantee, and the agency version, you're paying $197 for 50 accounts. That's $4 a piece. So your risk there is if you had to run the service for a year for them at $4 a month, that's $48 of your cost, and you've collected $300, $97 a month for 3 months. So it's a pretty no-brainer guarantee. You've already got paid $300 for something that costs you 48. You're never going to lose money on it. So, and it's a pretty easy type of deal to get that done. Okay, let's see. Again, there's a bunch of these that have already been answered. I tell you what, to save some time here, I'm going to skip down to the bottom, and if there's anything that I haven't answered for you guys and you still got questions, go ahead and put a new one in the chat, and let me get those. Let me also see if somebody's got their hand risen. Okay, there's a K here. I'll allow you to talk there so you can come out. Hello. I'm not hearing you there, Mr. or Mrs. K. Not coming through. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna mute you out. I'm gonna take Jeff out here. Okay, Jeff, you can unmute yourself and come out. Jeff Anders. All right. There you go, Jeff. I'm not hearing you either. Interesting. Not hearing you, Jeff. All right. Anyway, if you figure your audio out, I'll let you go ahead and give that a shot. Let's see. So Mark says, is it absolutely safe to use this every day on your laptop and phone that you manage GMDs with? Yeah, I don't see any problem at all with that because the device is running searches naturally. It's not running a bunch of searches for your own thing. So I would say you've got no problem with that at all. And should I connect one device every day or all 10 at once? Yeah, connect your devices and just leave them. Don't. Here's another thing. The devices are scheduled for the searches, like I said in the beginning of the call. When you connect your device, it's scheduled out for the following day. So if you're connecting one device and the other, and you're trying to mix different projects with the same device, you're going to kill your output on the searches because you're missing a whole day every time you do that. Every time you connect a different project to the same device. It's not made to do that. That's why we do that. We break the connection for an entire day when you connect a device, because we had some people that were trying to game the system. They were trying to take one device and connect it to 50 projects and be getting searches off of all 50 projects with one device. And obviously we can't have that. The math doesn't work. Let's see. Okay, Michael, I'm gonna open yours up here so you can unmute and come out if you're.
I'm here.
There you go. I can hear you.
How you doing?
Good. Go ahead.
Good. My question was on the keywords that I inserted for my project. Should we use the geo modifier form? For example, it was a divorce attorney, and I just put in divorce attorney. Should I be putting in divorce attorney in the city?
Yes. Yeah. If that's the keyword that you want to rank for, yeah, geo modifiers definitely. What happens with if you don't have a geo modifier and you don't rank for that keyword and it doesn't find you, Sitepop is going to put its own geo modifier in, but it's not really a geo modifier, it's a brand modifier. So if you add the geo modifiers in, you're just taking it up to the next step. So yeah, geo modifiers are great.
Okay, so that's fine. So because what I need to do then is go back and edit the keywords. So I just go back into the interface and modify the existing keywords.
Yep, just edit the existing ones and you should be in good shape.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can edit the keywords anytime. You can edit basically anything in the back end. You can edit that stuff anytime you want. So no problem.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeff, I know the audio is working, so if you want to hop out, I'm not sure. It says you're unmuted. The line is open for you if you want it. And let's see. And Kay, I'll open yours up too. You just have to unmute. And...
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, there you are.
Hey, yeah, I on my laptop, the Windows 10.
Yes.
When I click on the marketing assistant, it just says it won't open. It just says check your here. Let me click on it real fast. It says marketing assistant is already running. Please check your system tray or task manager.
Yes. Once marketing assistant is running in the background on a laptop or a desktop, what happens is it minimizes itself and it looks like it's disappeared, but it's actually still running in the background. So down on the bottom, you go down to the bottom right corner of your screen where it says show hidden icons. There's a little up arrow thing right there. If you click on that, you'll see the little blue light bulb and it says click to open marketing assistant. That's how you would reopen the app on your desktop or your laptop.
That's how you would see. Oh, yeah, I see them now. See the keywords now.
Yep. So that's how you pull it back up so you can see it. And then when you minimize it, it's going to go back into the tray, but it's still running in the background.
Or just
That's
come
why
out?
if you click on the desktop icon to open it up again and it's already running, it's going to give you that error, already running, check the task manager.
Gotcha. And one other question. I'm a newbie. I just cranked everything up yesterday.
Okay, awesome.
And it still says 0 of the 500. So I don't have any
Okay.
searches yet. Does it just take a while for them to start showing?
Yeah, it takes a while. Like once you set up a project in the back end and you connect the device, it takes it about a day because it's scheduling. It schedules the searches out for the following day. So
Okay.
depending on if you got in front or behind in the in the schedule when you created the the account and connected it, it could take might be the day after. So I would give it a day or two. If you're not seeing any searches after 2 days, then that's when you want to put a support ticket in and let's take a look and see what happened.
Okay.
But
One
it's
more
really
quick
normal.
question.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
I'm a local business and I have 10 Google Maps listings, about 7 or 8 in Houston and 3 or 4 over in San Antonio.
Okay.
Do I need to put the city? I think I'm going to do 2 different projects, one for San Antonio and one for the Houston area, but they all go to the same website. Should I put the name of the individual suburb city that I want to target on all of the keywords, or just like?
Well, the keywords, like this is something for just SEO in general. When you're targeting keywords and you're trying to target localized keywords, you add the modifier to the keyword. And this is going to be the same thing. Like if you want to rank for a particular niche in San Antonio, and that's the keyword that you want to come up for, then yeah, put the geo modifier with that keyword. You might have, of all your keywords, you might have some that have San Antonio, you might have some that have a different location. Perfectly fine to mix them up. But yeah, add your geo modifiers.
Okay.
If it's a national keyword, then don't add the geo modifier, obviously. But if you're trying to rank for local stuff, add the geo modifier, and then as Google figures it out and they start seeing localized searches, because Google they know where the searcher is searching from based on their IP. So they'll start automatically recommending you even if somebody doesn't have the geo modifier. So
Gotcha. So
that
I
will
thought,
come with time.
I didn't know if if I'm in the glass business, so I didn't know if I just put auto glass by itself without putting the little city name next to it.
Yeah, I would put the city name for auto glass for sure.
Okay, so I can go in and readjust all these then.
Yep.
Okay.
And then once you get like you get really solidified, then you can kind of be more generic, and then Google will figure it out, and you'll get better traction with generic keywords. But if you're just starting out, definitely the more long tail the keywords, the easier they're going to be to rank, and the more specific they are. Like for auto glass, you wouldn't want to rank in something that was a state away where you don't have any chance of doing the business. That's not really going to help you anyway. So,
got it.
All right. So let's see. I'm going to unmute, or I'm going to open up for Ken there if you want to unmute and come out. All right. So let's see. We got Ken and Jeff, Michael. Any other questions for you guys?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Okay, you and I just asked you a second ago about the divorce attorney city name. Once I enter divorce city name in my keyword selection within my interface, what about all the other thousands of people around the country? Are they going to be searching for divorce attorney in my city as well? How are they going to know to be searching for that particular term in my city if it's not their phone? So I'm a little confused on that.
Okay.
How that would work.
All the searches on the apps are all done on the back end. The searcher or the person with the app doesn't have to do anything. They just have to run the app. Our central server is sending out the search jobs out to them. So that's not a problem there.
Okay, so in other words, when I enter a keyword into my keyword selection list, that's being sent out to the other phones as well for them to do the background searches as
Correct.
well.
Correct. Yeah. The searches, like for your keywords are not necessarily being searched off of your phone. It's
Yeah,
off of the
okay.
phones in the network. So that's where the power of this really comes in, is having an army of phones out there that we can call up that army and say, hey guys, we need some help here on this keyword. Run these searches. That's the whole power behind this whole thing right there.
Okay, and I have one more question too, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
All right, within the interface, there's several places to check your devices. And on one of the places, when I check the devices, it gives me a list of 5 options. And on that particular place in the interface, it's showing no connected devices. Yet everywhere else I go in the interface, it shows a connected devices, and I'm getting searches.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering why of the 5 options, it's showing no connected devices.
That's just kind of a glitch on our back end. We've been developing this now for a couple of years, and we've got several different things in the back end and the admin panel, and some of them are not reporting properly. So basically, when you pull up your main thing and it shows all your projects and it shows how many connected devices and searches that you're getting, that's pretty easy. That's pretty trustable information there. The other thing about the connected devices is sometimes when a device disconnects, the back end will pick it up that it's disconnected and it will show it as not connected. But then the device reconnects and it doesn't get that signal for a while. So it's not in real time. Generally, when you connect a device for the first time, it reaches out and it makes the ping, and boom, it lights up on the control panel almost instantly. But as it's connected, when it comes in and out, that doesn't update in real time. So that's where you can see,
Okay.
some things might appear to not be in sync, and it's just because we don't have the resources to connect with 10,000 devices every second of every day to make sure that we've got the most updated information for the back end like that.
And I'm sure you get asked this all the time, but how long should we expect for it to start getting some results? Is it a month or two before we start seeing a tick up or some significant results? Let me put it that way.
Sure. And that's going to depend, like, again, this is SEO, so that's going to depend on a multitude of factors.
Yes, understood.
What I can tell you, like, just from an overall, like 30,000 foot view, most of the keywords, like if you're using traction keywords where you're on page 2 or 3, most of those, we see a move on those pretty quickly, like definitely within the first 30 days. And by the time we get into 60 and 90 days, we've seen some pretty significant improvement. And a lot of times we'll see improvement in the first 30-day period on a lot of keywords that we're not targeting. So look for that as well. When you judge SEO results, it can't be judged just on the couple that you're tracking. Like, I use SEMrush a lot. SEMrush will show me like all the keywords. So a lot of times we'll see, okay, well, the keywords we're pushing really hard on didn't go up at all, but 50 of these others did. So we got a very positive impact, even though it didn't show on our analytics, because our eye was on the wrong ball. We were trying to judge something on a bigger picture that we weren't looking at. So with SEO, and this is the case with all SEO, I don't care whether you're doing link building or search signals or on page, whenever you do positive things, sometimes you see positive results you're not looking at. So don't be misled that something didn't work when maybe it really did. Does that make sense?
And is there any? Yes, that makes perfect sense. Is there any connection between the GMB category keywords that we should be using here For example, in the legal field, you've got family law, divorce attorney, not divorce lawyer, but divorce attorney. So
Uh-huh.
should we be focusing on those primary GMB categories?
What happens a lot of times with the GMB and the maps and all of that stuff, one of the factors to ranking in there is the website that you're connected to and the authority of that website. So Sitepop is not directly connected to ranking on the GMB and the maps, but it does have a very positive effect. And that's another one of those things that, when you do SEO, you have a lot of positive things that sometimes you're not looking at, like the Google Suggest, for instance. the the GMB, the maps, there's a lot of different things that can happen that, sometimes you're not looking at and you go, oh, well, yeah, this thing didn't work when it really did. It worked really well, and you just weren't really looking to see that it did. So,
Yeah. There's one thing I'd like to expand on that you mentioned earlier that I found out through my own efforts here that is very true. Is as
okay.
a divorce attorney client, we didn't buy new backlinks, we didn't do anything.
Uh-huh.
All we did was put up about 10 new 2,000-word blog posts. We updated all the old blog posts, and we went through and did all the on-page meta titles, descriptions. We got rid of duplicate H1s, and
Okay.
their firm's rankings went up dramatically without
Yeah.
buying a single backlink.
Yeah, absolutely. Like there's those three categories. You can affect rank with any one of the three. Like you just saw the rank affected with just some on-page stuff.
Yeah,
So,
and their domain authority too jumped from 15 to 20 in
mhm.
the course of about a week, which is a very significant jump,
Yeah,
on a
yeah.
website like that.
Well, domain authority is tied directly to trust. If Google trusts a site, then it's gonna give it a lot more leeway. It's going to give it a lot more authority. It's going to give it a lot more ability to rank.
Yeah,
If there's a bunch of broken stuff, Google's like, yeah, do I really want to send my valuable traffic to a site that didn't pay attention to the basics?
yeah.
So authority
We
is,
went and updated all the service pages. We updated all the old blogs. We added about 10 or 15 new blogs.
yeah,
And I noticed there was 3 and 4 H1s sometimes on a page, and we got rid of all of those. And we put in the H2s, 3s, and 4s. And we just made it a point to make sure that each and every page of the website was updated with fresh and new content. And I was amazed at the
yeah,
difference it made in this client's rankings just from that metric alone and
okay,
nothing else.
sure, yeah. It's crazy, and the search signals are the same thing. You add that on top, and it can really affect the metrics across the board.
Yep.
Because you one of the things that most small websites are missing is brand connection. Like if you run a search for almost any keyword out there, doesn't matter what it is, you're going to see the top results are mostly big brands. And it's because of that. It's because Google sees, their algorithm sees that, hey, people know this brand and they know they're connected with this keyword. So since that's the truth, we should value that more. And that's one of the things that Sitepop can do. It can give you that boost and that brand recognition.
Yeah, that's why I'm so excited about this, because I completely agree with you on that brand recognition thing. And the way that we're
Yeah.
doing that is through the authoritative blog posts,
Uh-huh.
and backlinks from from the directory sites within the legal industry that are free, but some of them have domain authorities of 70 and 80. So they're
Yeah.
very valuable backlinks. So I found that without spending a whole lot of money, other than just updating the website and writing blogs, that it's easy. It's actually possible in a very competitive niche such as legal to outrank higher ranking sites that have been there for years within just a few weeks. It wasn't that difficult.
Sure. Yeah. SEO really isn't brain science. It's some pretty basic stuff. At the very backbone of it, it's really understanding what Google wants and getting in alignment with it. And I can tell you right now, what Google wants is they want to provide a good user experience.
Yep.
They're a matchmaker. They want to connect a perfect match every time. And when you send them the signals to prove that you are the perfect match, they're going to recognize that. They're going to reward you for it. So,
Yep, absolutely. Because Client first asked me, she said, why are we doing such long blog posts? And I told her, I said, because the day of 3 and 4 and 500 word lazy blog posts are pretty much over from Google's standpoint, because they don't feel there's much value to the reader in an unresearched 300 or 400 word blog post, as opposed to one that has citations and authoritative links where you're backing up your statements that you're saying. If you talk about something the Florida Supreme Court said, we put a citation number next to it, cited at the bottom of the page, and then provide an outbound link to the citation source. And I think Google, that is a very well-researched, in-depth article, and they like it better than these lazy 300 and 400 word posts that we see your competition doing.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. You're right on the money with that. I mean, right on.
Well, that's all I got for now. I'll let somebody else talk.
Okay, cool. Let's see. I'm going to unmute here. I'm not sure how to say that name and don't want to butcher it, but go ahead and come on out. I'm not hearing you. Let's see. Yeah, you must not have your audio on or your microphone. Okay, so I'm gonna bring Jeff out. Jeff, you can go ahead and unmute there.
John, how are you today?
Good. How's it going?
I'm good, man. Thanks.
Awesome.
So bought a couple devices at Target for $25.
Okay.
I'm setting them up tonight. Okay. I have a home. I have an office. I have another office. Should I spread the devices between places?
The more spread out they are, the better for the network. For you personally, it doesn't really matter. You can have a bunch of devices on the same IP and the same network. It's not a problem. Like for me, I've got probably close to 40 of them running out of my house. A residential IP, and there's about 40 of them running out of there. The only thing that you might see, and this might freak you out if you ever do see it, when you go, like, let's say you're running your desktop and you pull up Google and you run a Google search for you, a real search, and Google will pop up a window that says an unusual amount of search activities coming from this IP, and it just wants to verify you're a real user. You might freak out when you see that, but it's totally natural, and all you have to do is check the box to yes, I'm not a robot, and then they'll let you, they'll up your search volume. And the first time I ever saw that was I had an office, a shared office down in Newport Beach, and it was one internet connection, and there was probably 100 different offices in the same location that all shared that same internet connection. And we were all on our computers all day long running searches, just naturally. And the office building, it was a new facility. So it was, this was a new IP, new search activity. And we were getting that all the time. Like I was having to click the little thing multiple times a day saying I wasn't a robot. And this goes back probably 10 years ago. So this is not new. This is just a natural thing. When they see a high search volume, they just want to make sure it's not robots. So you check the box, and you check the box a few times, and then it starts to trust you and say, okay, I get it. You guys got more users and it's okay. So
great. I got a question about devices and accounts.
Okay.
I'm an iPhone user. Okay.
Okay.
I respect the fact that this doesn't work on iPhone. So I bought the Androids. So do I need a different Google Play account or can I use one Google Play account to download the app onto all the devices?
If you're going to do a lot of them, I would probably set up multiple accounts. If you've just got a couple, like let's say you got 2 or 3 and you're doing it for yourself, using one Google Play account is perfectly fine. But if you're going to do it like me and you're going to put 20, 30, 40 phones in your little cluster, I would highly recommend that you create users for that. And I did that. I started an Excel spreadsheet and I just started creating users and creating Google accounts. And I've got a different user for each phone. So every time they, they go into the Google Play Store, it's that unique user.
So the user is a unique email address?
Yeah, it's a unique Gmail address. It's a Gmail account.
Right.
And when you create a Gmail account, that's a Google Play user. You have to have a Google user to get into the Google Play Store to download the app.
Right. So I got another question related to that. Another
Okay.
SaaS vendor showed me a way to set up accounts with one Gmail where I take my primary email, in front of the @ sign, and I add plus and then maybe the project ID at gmail.com, where
Okay.
would something like that work, or you have no clue?
Okay. What?
So it's
I know
my email is my name Jeff at domain.com. Okay. And if I use Jeff plus Sitepop project ID at domain.com, those actually filter differently. And I don't know if you've ever heard of that or tried
Yeah.
a system like that.
I have heard that with Google, with Gmail specifically, that you can have an unlimited amount of usernames to the Gmail account by doing that. I hadn't heard the plus. I heard maybe it was the plus. I thought it was a dot, but maybe you're right. Maybe it was a plus. I heard that a long time ago.
Just from a management standpoint, if you're going to get notices that a device is offline, it's just an advantage to me to get the email and an email I check.
Yeah, but I would not say that would be the same, because when you do that, like from a mail perspective, I've run mail servers for 20 something years. What that is doing, it's not really creating a new email account. It's not creating a new identity. It's creating an alias of it's almost like a forward, like all these email addresses forward to this one user account. So it's still the same user account no matter how you slice it. And that one user account is going to be logging into all of those Google Play stores. So that's where it gets a little dicey. I probably wouldn't do more than 3 Google Play Store attachments to any one user, just for safety's sake.
Last question, and then I got to run.
Okay, sure.
So I bought in at the lower level from the Brian Willey webinar. So if I really want to max that level out, do I need 10 devices or 20 devices?
You would need 20. So if you got the pro version, that gives you 10 accounts.
Right.
If you want to max it out and get 500 per account, you would need basically 2 per project. So you need 20.
I've gone through the videos once, but it's I'd make the polite suggestion that you split it out and make them.
I remember your comment. I read through that.
Listen, I understand you got a million things going on, but I would love to just see, boom, this is the device, set it up, because I'm still like, I have a question in my head of, so if I have, for one of my clients, I need 2 devices, am I putting the same project ID on 2 different phones?
Correct. Yes,
okay.
That is correct.
So I'm excited by it, as I think all your callers are. I think it's, I've been around enough to see when there's something a little unique and different. So
yeah, we've actually, believe it or not, we've been using this for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
And our first network, we called it Rainmaker, and it was only Windows desktop. It wasn't mobile. It was purely Windows desktop. And man, that thing worked so well for so long, and then it finally started to taper off, and that's when we realized how important the user signals from mobile had become, and that's where we went back to the drawing board and redeveloped Sitepop. But it's doing the same thing we've been doing all along. It's just a more advanced version of it.
Yeah. So if I'm a plumber. If I have a client that's a plumber in Chicago, and
Yep.
one of the other fine folks on this call has a plumber in Chicago, basically, there's nothing we can do about that. We're both going to be on page one.
Yeah, if you've got two people that are fighting for the same keyword and all things are equal, they're they're going to be right next to
Yeah.
each other.
Cool. All right, man. I appreciate it. Good luck. I look
All right.
forward. And by the way, this format for me, if I could choose, well, periodic calls like this where customers just get to get right to the good questions,
Yeah,
because I've learned from everybody else's questions. So
yeah, absolutely.
that's my 2 cents. But keep
Perfect.
up the
Yeah, no,
great work. Thank you.
yeah, no, I've done quite a number of these and I plan on continuing to do it. Like, I think this is way better than like throwing you guys all in a Facebook group and have the blind lead the blind.
I
I
can't
don't,
keep up. I can't keep up with the Facebook group. So.
yeah, that's just, there's way too much nonsense
No,
that goes on
just
with that.
hearing the divorce attorney question
Mhm.
translated to my industry without me having to ask about it
Yeah,
specifically. So I like that format, and I hope that there's more calls like this where we could just
yeah,
get right to it. Okay.
yep. I will keep that promise. I've done, this is probably the fourth or fifth one I've done in so many months. So we'll
Okay.
keep them up.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. We got Mike there. Mike McAfee. You can go ahead and unmute. And, all right. I'm not hearing you, Mike. All right. Let's see here. Let's. It sounded like you turned your mic on. All right. We got Herb too. You can go ahead and unmute if you want to come out.
Herb, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yep. Go ahead,
Right.
Herb.
Yeah, I work with a local funeral home,
Okay.
and we don't have control over the website. They have another company that does that. We basically just do Facebook and Google My Business, help them with reviews, but they were looking at the pay-for-click. I thought this would be a better solution for them, but they really don't have a clue about anything technical. I was wondering if it would hurt to just try the system out, proof of concept.
Oh
Is
yeah.
there
Yeah.
any risk for
Absolutely.
that, or?
No risk whatsoever on that. And if you want, this goes for anybody too. We're here, both Chris and I are here and able to like help you guys out. If you want us to hop on and brainstorm with you, we can do that on these kind of calls too. I use SEM Rush, and a lot of times I can do a site evaluation really, really quickly and kind of expose gaps. Say, okay, based on this, here's the keywords you rank for, here's the opportunities, all that kind of stuff. And I do that for another call. I run an SEO group, and we do that every week. Every Thursday, I have an open call, and it's for whatever anybody needs at the time. So I'd be happy to do that for you guys too.
Yeah. I need to set up an appointment to do that. I'd love to go over that with you.
Sure. Yeah. If you go onto my site, theinternetdominators.com, there's a 15-minute consult thing. You can just fill out and schedule an appointment, and we'll take a look for you.
That'd be great. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. All right. We got, let's see, we got quite a few of you here. Mike McAfee, did you get your microphone figured out there? All right. Anybody else that I've got open on the screen there, you can unmute and.
I have one more question.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I have the 11 local listings split between Houston and San Antonio, two major cities. Would you do multiple projects for those?
It depends on the traffic of the site itself. If you look at like your Google Analytics and and you're getting, you know, and there's no perfect number for this, but if you're getting like under a couple hundred searches a month normally without Sitepop, if you're under a couple hundred, I probably wouldn't put more than one project on it. If you're getting over a couple hundred, 3, 4, 500, then yeah, I would say you could easily pop 2 or 3 on top of that. But I would kind of gauge it based on that. Look at your Google Analytics and see what kind of traffic and search volume you currently have, and kind of base it on that.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yep.
So I always try and do stuff as naturally as possible. I've done SEO training for, you know, many years. I think I started training people in about 2008. And one of the things that I've always taught is a concept. It's a methodology of SEO that I call cloud cover. And cloud cover, what that means is you're doing things and you're hidden in the cloud. And I got the concept from World War II fighter pilots. The fighter pilots that were successful and came home from their missions, they learned to fly in the clouds so they didn't get shot down. And it's the same thing here. If you're flying in clear blue sky, you can be on the radar, you can be targeted and shot down, and you don't want that in SEO. So cloud cover has always been my general methodology for SEO. And anything I do related to SEO, I make sure that I'm shrouded in the cloud so nobody can identify, oh, hey, look at that. That doesn't look natural. Let's go after and get him. And I've been very successful at that. I've been doing client SEO for over 2 decades, and I've never had a client banned because I've kept them in the clouds. So
Excellent.
all right, anybody else here? We've been on here for an hour and a half. I think we've covered just about everything. Mike wants to know if I have a discount code for SEMrush. If you go to internetdominators.com/SEMrush, RUSH, you can get a free trial. I think you can get either a 7 or 14-day free trial through there. If you're just doing this for your own website, that might be all you need. You might be able to just use the free trial, get the information you need out of it, and then, you know, just move on. So that might work for you. Mike, yeah, we are recording this, and I will put this replay up for you guys. So no problem there. Ray wants to know when the next Q&A webinar will be. I don't have one scheduled as far as a date, but I plan on doing these about once a month. So sometimes, like for this particular one, I've got so much stuff going on in the next couple of weeks. I saw a hole in the schedule today that opened up, so that was why the last minute I just plugged it in. I'm like, hey, there's a hole, I can do it. And a lot of times I'll do it just that way. I can, you know, if I can fit one in, I definitely throw them out there for you guys. Okay, here's a good question. Can a project start the search on a page other than the home page? Yes, and that happens absolutely naturally. So the way that Sitepop works is it runs the search, and this is the reason that you don't put a page in, you just put a domain in. When it asks for the domain of the project, you don't put a whole URL in there, you just put the domain name. The reason for that is when Sitepop runs the search, Google puts up the search results, and Sitepop scans those results looking for your domain. Doesn't have to be the home page. Any URL that has your domain in it that pops up there, that's going to be the entry point. It's going to click through there, and then it's going to provide the user experience based on that entry point. So it will just happen naturally. You don't have to do anything for it. You just put in the domain name and let it do its thing. There's not really a way to force it into anyone, and you wouldn't want to do that anyway. because Google's going to do what Google's going to do, and you want to work with that. So, all right. So, anybody else got questions you want to come out for? I think I've got everybody with the hands raised out, so all you have to do is unmute.
Hello?
Oh, go ahead. You're very light there. If you can
I
just,
can't.
yeah,
Can
there
you
you
hear me?
go.
Sorry, I just got my laptop closer to myself.
Okay.
Can you hear me well now?
Yeah, yep, I can hear you.
I'm going to be really quick because I'm only like 5% battery on my laptop.
Okay.
So my question, actually, I've just started using Sitepop. I found out from Chris Cantel, Chris.
Oh,
Um,
okay, sure.
So this is all new for me, literally all new. I've been doing SEOs with other companies for about 3-4 years now,
Okay.
and I haven't had the results that I wanted to. I have to say that the niche that I'm in is it's very, very competitive, especially here in the UK. So we run a mobile bar company, so we do a lot of cocktail events, and I think it's one of the most popular, especially here in the UK, like I mentioned. So I just said to myself, you know what? I'm just gonna try and do everything from, I'm gonna try and learn about this. I'm gonna see what I can do, because I think no one else can give me the better results than myself. So that's why I was lucky to found Chris on Facebook.
Yeah.
So then I went to his webinar, and then I signed up to the SEO breakthrough.
Mhm.
So, all good so far. And then obviously I found you as well. So I've been with you for maybe 2 weeks now, and I'm just trying to get the best.
Oh, sounds like you lost your connection there.
Now, sorry.
Oh, there you go. Now you're back.
Yeah. So did you get the last part?
No, I missed the part where right at the end there. I missed that part.
Okay. So I was just saying that I want to get the best out of Sitepop. I want to make sure that, my campaign is all set up. I got the
Okay.
right keywords. Although I did bought 3 phones already just 2 weeks ago, and I've already run them. And I don't know, it's weird because what's the other one? Ahrefs, I think, is telling me one thing. SEMrush is telling me one thing, and then Sitepop, is telling me another thing. So which one do I believe?
Well, with keyword research and keyword ranking, they're going to be all over the board, because for one thing, you're probably in the UK, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the search results that you're going to see is going to be based on other countries like US or whatever. Like if you're running SEMrush, unless you specifically change it to UK, you might be looking at US results. With Sitepop is going to be very accurate based on the last search that was done by the last user. It's going to be absolutely right on the money there. But Google shows different results to different people, including tools that do rank reporting. So it's really hard to say, what the true actual rank is, because it's going to be based on the user that's looking at it. So it's kind of a loaded question.
Yeah, I understand. It's a bit interesting. So you're saying that with the users, do they have to, let's say, you said that someone searches the last search, that will show my services as well. So does that mean that someone has to be in the same industry as I am, and then that will kind of rank together, or how does
No,
it work?
it could be somebody totally different. It could be, just another user in the network. Their phone runs the search for your keyword and displays back to the network
Okay.
where it found you.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it
Got
could
it.
be totally random user out of the network doing that for you. And then when you look at the rank on your app on your phone, it's just showing where the last person found it. So you might run it on your desktop and it might be totally different for you, because it might not be the same the same device. There's a number of different things that can vary the search result.
Got it. Got it. I think last question. This is also I saw in the webinar with Chris. He was saying something about social signals. Are they good? Are they worth to buy? How many should I buy? What's your input?
Sure. I think social signals is a part of on or off page optimization. That's like of the three things that you've got, you have the on page, which is kind of the technical SEO. That's like getting your foundation structured. What off page is kind of like a popularity contest. So if you've got social signals, Google sees, okay, this site is showing up socially. People are interacting with it. So that's a good positive thing. Links, again, links coming in, that's another form of popularity. If other
Yeah.
people don't link to you, you must not be popular. And then ultimately the search signals, it's kind of the validation of all of this stuff is true.
Right.
Like users are actually searching and clicking in here.
Okay. Just one question with the on page. What would be the best tool to do on page? Is it rank or what do you suggest?
Well, there's not really a tool that does on page. There's tools that will analyze your on page and kind of point out things. But I mean, some of the basic stuff is just going through your on page and looking at your titles, making sure your titles are unique and they're compelling, because title and description is the only thing you have to get people to click. So if you can make your title and description really compelling and have a call to action in it and get people to click, that's a really good optimization factor right there. Going through, making sure that you only have one H1 tag on each page, making sure the H1 tag is relevant to the title. It doesn't have to be identical, but very relevant. Making sure that, your H2, your H3, having longer content, having internal linking, all that stuff that just says this is a well thought out, healthy site. That's basically the on page.
Okay. I think I've done quite a lot of work into it since I've studied myself. To be quite honest with you, like I mentioned to you in the beginning, I paid thousands of pounds, to be fair, so far, for the last 2-3 years, paying advertising with other campaigns, promising me the world, and then in the end, they haven't even got me. And like they said, SEO takes time and time and time. And I'm aware of that, but I just got frustrated at the end, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna take everything in my hand and then start learning about it. So I did a lot of meta description and add content to the website, and also H1, H2, H3. I'm actually in the building a website as we I'm in the progress of building another website, but I just want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. So I think. I think we're there, but I just want to make sure that even I get everything from Sitepop, and we've got another meeting with John on Tuesday. Oh, sorry, with Chris, with Chris. Sorry, with Chris.
Sure.
So yeah, should be
another thing that can really help, especially local sites, is schema. If you get schema tags, schema code into your site, that will help Google decipher that the site is a valuable source because it's got schema code in it.
Oh, that's interesting. How do I? I'm just going to put this down. How do I do this?
Well, with schema code, there's if you're using a WordPress website, there's several different plugins where it'll create the schema codes for you, and it'll ask you some questions. And basically, what schema is schema is identifying and validating what the site is about. Like, for instance, there's a lot of different words in the English language that have multiple meanings to them. Like, for instance, caterpillar can be a little bug, or it could be a piece of heavy equipment, like a Caterpillar tractor. So schema, what schema does is it identifies what the meaning of the word is. So Google understands, is this site about nature or is this site about construction?
Okay.
You know, another example I use is, you know, the word cougar. Cougar is an old American car from the 1970s, or it's also a wild animal, or some people relate, you know, older women that are in the dating
Yeah.
scene as a cougar. So it's
Yeah.
for Google to understand the meaning of what you
Okay.
intend. That's what schema does. So they
That's
value.
interesting. Yeah, I will definitely look into that, into the schema code, because
Yeah,
I think I look at the woo rank, because I've got a tool and I can see the score, and I think, as you mentioned, the schema code was missing, so
yeah.
that makes sense. Okay, cool. That's absolutely fine. John, I'm only 2%. I'm just gonna let other fellows go on. But thank you so much for
Okay.
your, really
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
help.
Glad
And
you
yeah,
were able to pop out and ask me
yeah, and
questions.
also one last thing before I go. I said to you, I've got I just bought free phones. So and I went with the middle plan, 500 searches per month. But then it says that you were saying that to use 2 devices for one project. Is that correct? Will you get the best results out of that?
That's where you get the best results, because that'll get you about 500 searches per month for that project. But you don't have to connect 2. You can connect 1 per project. You'll just get like 250 searches instead of the 500.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but
Cool. That's wonderful.
yeah, we just recommend 500 because that's where we've seen it move the needle consecutively, you know, the quickest. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. 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 Well, thank you so much, John.
all
Thank you,
right.
and have a lovely evening. Well, afternoon. I don't know what time is there.
It's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon here in
Oh wow, it's
California.
11 here. It's 11 p.m. here.
Oh yeah, little bit of a time difference there.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, John. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. All right. Anybody else here wanna pop out before we close up here? All right. Mike says PSV3. Todd Spears, good schema plugin. Yeah, Todd's awesome. He's a great guy. Been in the business probably almost as long as I have. Okay, Matt, you got a question here. Go ahead and unmute and come on out. All right, looks like you're unmuted, but I'm not hearing you. Might be your microphone might need to get turned on. Okay, let's see, I'm just looking through. All right, I guess a lot of you guys are in the UK, nighttime over there. Okay, all right, last chance. Anybody that wants to pop out, if you're up on the screen, all you have to do is unmute. All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you all for coming on here and let me help you get through the process. And like I said, we'll be doing, you know, more of these. We'll probably try and do one every month and just help you guys along as much as I can. So anyway, thank you for being here. I'll get this recording up in the archive for you, and let us know if you run into problems. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you soon.